Hi, my name's Adam. Welcome to the channel. Thanks for joining us today. Today we're going to talk about how do you apply for OAS and CPP. So this is, two government benefits that the majority, if not all of you watching these videos, will be applying for at some point. So when you hit a certain age, you're going to need to apply or maybe defer these benefits, especially when it comes to OAS. So we're going to cover all that, when you can apply, how you apply, the process to it. What if you apply and start it and then realize you made a mistake and need to retract that? We're going to cover all of that in this video. If you haven't already checked out our Investing Academy, we partner with Brendan and Mark Beavis and many other content creators, Adriano from Passive Investing and many others as well. So there's a great kind of toolbox of content creators, education creators, and just ways to level up your investing game, your planning. Check that out. We put a link below to the Investing Academy, $19.99 a month. I promise you will get more than that in value. I mean, there's over $10,000 of courses in this alone. And again, if you're looking for fee-for-service financial planning, if you're getting close to retirement or maybe early in retirement and you just don't have a clear plan, you're not sure where you're going, where to draw money from, check out our website, parallelwealth.com/planning. We do offer fee-for-service planning for those that need a little bit help, saving taxes, increasing your income, and just having the best strategy as you go through retirement. So let's talk about applying for CPP and OAS. So these are two separate benefits. You do not have to apply for one if you're applying for the other, okay? They're totally separate. So I'm gonna kind of cover both and go back and forth in this video. So let's start with the first thing, do you qualify? So again, as long as you're 60 and over in Canada and you've made at least one contribution to the Canadian pension plan, you qualify for a benefit. For old age security, as long as you've been in Canada for at least 10 years and are 65 or older, you qualify for OAS. So those are kind of the two things. Now be aware, if you're not in Canada and you're applying for OAS elsewhere, abroad, you need to make sure there's different rules. You have to be in Canada for at least 20 years. So check that out. If you're in Canada, applying for OAS, 10 years. If you're out of Canada abroad, is 20 years. So a little bit different rules there. So the next step you have to look at is if you qualify. So if you've made payments or you've been in Canada for at least 10 years, the next thing is when to apply. So for CPP, you can apply for CPP as early as age 60 and as late as 70. So somewhere between your 60th birthday and your 70th birthday is when you want to start taking. Now, a lot of you default, and the statistics show that you default to that earlier 60 to 65 range. And a lot of you just default to 65 because that's just the retirement number we have in our head. The other reason a lot of you will default to 65 is because that's when you get your OAS statement. So again, I'll cover OAS here in a second, but you'll get a letter. OAS will start automatically. So thus, a lot of you start CPP right away. You need to put a plan in place. Before you apply for any of these benefits, you need to go through a financial plan with your planner. You need to figure out when does it make the most sense for you to take your old age security and your CPP. The answer is going to be different for most of you, but usually it does make sense to defer that CPP. And again, this video is not about that, but don't just start CPP or start OAS because you're able to. You want to start it when it makes the most sense for you from a tax and income perspective. So with both your CPP and OAS, you can apply for both of them up to 12 months before you actually want to take it. And they recommend to apply at least 6 months. We always say about 3 to 4 months before you want to take it is when you should be applying. Let's talk about old age security for a second. They will send you roughly a year before you turn 65. They're going to send you a nice formal package. And I've talked about that before on the channel is, they send you this fancy package and you think, okay, well, I guess I have to take my old age security. And you sign the paperwork and you send it back, whether you do it online or send it by mail, and you start OAS when you turn 65. But you don't have to. And I know the fancy package, it kind of forces you almost in a way to, I guess I have to sign this. It's a professional looking document. I need to sign it and send it back to the government because the government's asking for something. You can absolutely ask to defer. Now, if you don't do anything, essentially, it will start. You have to send back saying, yes, I would like to defer it. And there's reasons to defer OAS. And again, we'll cover that in a different video, but a lot of you may want to defer OAS. Again, if you're going to have an old age security clawback, we'll link a video to OAS clawback up here. If you don't know what OAS clawback is, check that video out. But if you're going to fall into OAS clawback, it probably makes sense to defer your OAS as long as possible. So again, it will start automatically, but you can defer it by filling out the paperwork or going on your My Service Canada website. And I'm going to take a pause here and talk about My Service Canada, because if you don't have access to your My Service Canada website yet, you need to get access. We'll put a link below to the My Service Canada website, and you need to make sure that you sign up, you get logged in. This is where you look at your CPP and OAS benefits, you apply for these benefits, you're able to pause. This is kind of the communication tool that Canada has set up to make sure that you know what you're going to get, apply, get receipts, all that kind of stuff. A lot of the information's in there. So if you don't have access to My Service Canada, that's step one. Get access to that, and then you can roll forward from there. When it comes to when to apply for your CPP, again, this is really a $100,000 question. Whether you apply at 60 or 70, it's about $100,000 difference in income for most of you in retirement. So you need to have a plan put together. Maybe you need money early. Maybe you have a health issue, or you just need the cash flow. And I mean need the cash flow. Most of you don't need it, even though you think you do. If you take it before 65, you lose a bit. So it's 0.6 per month that you lose on your CPP. It's reduced, or it's increased if you defer it past 65. And again, we have a plethora of videos on CPP, when to take it, different benefits. We'll put a link to one up here. Now, the best way to apply is actually online. So again, go to your My Service Canada. You can apply right on My Service Canada website. That process will take 7 to 14 business day turnaround. So once you apply, you'll get confirmation, not that you get payment right away. You'll get payment when you want to start the payment, but you'll get confirmation that they've received your application and it's been approved. About 7 to 14 days. You can also mail in your application. And the snail mail is probably the worst way to go about this because it takes up to 120 days, which is crazy. Think 1 week versus like 4 months of turnaround. So make sure that you do everything online on My Service Canada. And that's why I say it's very important to get set up and get that rolling. But you can mail in that application. When you send stuff by mail, make sure that you track it. You want to make sure that it got to them. You don't want to wait 120 days, follow up with them, and they never got it. That could be a headache. So make sure if you do have to mail it, make sure that you track that mail when you send it through. So when you apply for both your OAS and your CPP, you're going to need personal information, your address, your SIN number, that kind of stuff. When you look at your CPP, if you're applying for a child rearing year, so if you're applying for the child rearing, if you had some kids post 1958, you need to make sure that you have their information as well, when they were born, their SIN number, all of that. Because what happens when you apply for your CPP benefit, they're going to cross-reference that with the children, their age, who were they born, all that. So to qualify for that child rearing, you're going to need your kids' information as well. And I know they're older now, so make sure you grab that information. As well, if you're looking to do pension sharing, you're going to need your partner's SIN number. So your spouse or common law partner, you'll need their SIN number and their information as well if you're going to share that CPP benefit. If you have integration, and again, I'm not going to cover that in this video, but if you do have integration or you've paid into government benefits in other countries that have a treaty with Canada, you want to make sure you have that information as well when you apply for CPP. So if you're collecting, say, pension from Norway, then you want to make sure you have that information when you apply for your CPP. They're going to ask for that type of data. So make sure you have kind of all this information when you apply, and it'll just speed up the process on your end. The last piece on OAS application, if you weren't born in Canada, you're going to need the day and the city that you came into Canada. So have some information around like when you came, who you arrived with, what city you arrived in, kind of have as much detail around that as possible so that you can provide that kind of supplemental information to them so that you don't have any delay when getting your OAS. Now I want to mention kind of 3 tips here, and these are important tips. Now, first off, let's say you deferred old age security and you realize, I should have started it back then, I wouldn't have clawback and could use the money and whatever else. You can actually apply for OAS once you're past 65, obviously, and get up to 11 retroactive payments. So let's say you just turned 66 and you thought, I want to start it when I was 65. You can actually apply and get it paid back 11 months. So it will start early. It'll be a smaller amount because as you defer OAS, there's a bit of a benefit to it. So that benefit will go away, but you'll get back 11 payments. So that is an option if you need to make back those payments. A couple other things with OAS, if you started the payment and you realize that, this was a mistake, I'm having full OAS clawback, or it doesn't make sense, I had a plan put together, I realized it doesn't make sense now, you can stop OAS up to 6 months from when you started. So if you have had 6 or less payments from old age security, you can request to have it stopped. Now you need to reach out to them directly to get that stopped, but you can have it stopped. Now you have to pay back all 6 payments, but you can then defer it longer. So a lot of people, and I've heard this story over and over again, is I started OAS, I didn't get payments because I make too much money, I had full clawback. So in those cases, you definitely want to put a stop on OAS and defer it down the road. You can do the same with CPP, your Canadian pension plan, but up to 12 months. So a lot of you watching these videos, and I talked to a lot of you that started CPP years ago or a year ago or whatever it is in your early 60s, and after you've done all this research through our channel and other channels and just online, you realize you should have waited. Again, if you're outside that 12-month window, it's too late. You just have to keep going on CPP. But if you're within a 12-month window, you're actually able to stop CPP. You have to pay back whatever months you've collected, but then you can defer it going forward. Get a plan put together. If you made a mistake, stop CPP, pay back your payments, and defer it down the road. So that is an option. So OAS is 6 months, CPP is 12 months. And again, OAS, you can actually get retroactive payments back 11 months. So there's 3 tips for you that you may not have known about. To recap here, OAS age 65 will start automatically. If you do nothing, old age security will start at 65 if you've been in Canada for more than 10 years. If you want to defer it, you have to ask them to defer it. CPP does not start automatically. You have to apply for CPP. Again, you can apply anywhere between 60 and 70. I've done hundreds of financial plans for every different situation, and it makes sense closer to 70, 99% of the time. So if you're thinking about taking it early, you may want to rethink that. It's costing you tens of thousands of dollars. So there you have it. So you should know how to apply for both OAS and CPP, how it works. Again, we have a lot of videos on CPP and OAS in our channel. If you want to learn more about when to take it, how it works, child rearing, all these little intricate details to it, search our channel. We have a ton of videos on there. So thank you so much for joining this video. Again, if you haven't checked out the Investing Academy or our fee for service planning, both links are below as well. We'll see you in the next video.